So part 1 sucked, part 2 was even worse. Is it possible that part 3 could be worse than the first 2? Well, let's get into this review and find out. What's going on, YouTube? So the episode starts off with everyone saying that they outgrew Halloween, so they aren't going trick-or-treating this year. So they wait until Halloween to act like high schoolers, huh? Interesting. Except I know people who go trick-or-treating that act more mature than this show. Under a minute into this video and I'm already talking But isn't that why you love me? So I talked about this next scene in a previous video already, so I won't talk about it much here, but Corey asks the class if they are important. And Maya goes around the class pointing to everyone saying that nobody is important except for Riley. Which is kind of ironic, really, considering I'd argue everyone is important except for Riley. But that's just me. Now Maya was clearly joking, but still seeing her point to Lucas and say no still kind of hurts my Lucaya heart. Hey, my Lucaya heart is sensitive. But one thing I didn't cover in the previous video is how Maya also pointed to herself and said no. Well, she didn't say no, but she wasn't really sure what to say. Is Maya saying that she isn't sure if she's important or if she matters? I know we talked about the Riley depression storyline, but what about a Maya-related one? Just something to think about. So as Farkle demonstrates the life lesson for this episode, he slaps Lucas. Oh yeah, Farkle, you're completely forgiven for Girl Meets the New Year. Just for that slap alone. And Maya ends up laughing about it, just like the rest of Lucaya Nation. I mean, we've all had thoughts about doing it, but actually having somebody do it, priceless. And I love when Lucas ends up asking Riley that if the relationship that matters most is him and Riley. And literally nobody in the class, including Corey, agreed. I mean, how could you agree to that without having a gun to your head and having somebody force you to? So now it's time to play hypothetical and imagine life as if nobody ever met each other. Oh boy, here we go. So remember the story about how Maya met Riley by randomly going through her window? Well, in this scenario, Maya never climbed through that window. And remember Riley's bear, Barry, that she lost and decided to move on from? Well, she still has it. And Riley is even more bubbly and sunshine than ever before. Oh God, kill me now. And Maya is more cold-hearted than ever before, and almost kind of goth looking. But I covered this part in the previous video too, so I won't talk about it too much here again. And I also really loved it when Maya asked wannabe tough boy Lucas if he's as tough as everyone thinks he is. And then Lucas threw the question right back at her, but neither one of them answered it. Very telling little moment here. Maybe both Lucas and Maya are a lot more soft under the surface than they led on to believe. And I also loved it how Corey was a lot less insightful as a teacher. I mean, according to this version of Corey, names and dates are the secret of life. Names and dates. That's it. And this version of Maya is so bad that she even bullies Riley. And this version of Riley is so bad that it doesn't even bother her. And we find out the reason that Maya underperforms so much in class. And that's because she doesn't want people thinking that she's a lot smarter than she acts. Because that would mean more expectations and being called on more in class. Very interesting. I also find it kind of interesting how Maya would have been a bully without Riley's influence. Kind of hard to believe, actually. I'm not exactly buying it either, but that's just me. Now, Riley being a complete pushover, that is more believable though, because she's always cared a lot about what people thought of her, and she's also always been a very over-the-top person. And the reason Lucas is such a loner now is because he misses his friend back in Texas, and he tells Riley to stand up for herself. I really hate how they're making Maya into like one of the worst kinds of people on this planet, but I do agree. You need to stand up to your bullies or they're never gonna stop. And in this instance, Riley needs to stand up to Maya. Wow. Never thought I'd say those words. So Augie doesn't exist in this world, and Ava is quote-unquote dating Doi. And as usual with Augie and Ava storylines, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. But I loved how even Topanga was annoyed by Riley's over-the-top bubbliness. You see? It's not just Lucaya Nation, Riley. Even your mother doesn't like you. So Augie tries to make things go back to the way they were. So his ghost self pushes Smackle into Farkle. And then Smackle tells Farkle to stop hitting on him and breaks out dancing. If that doesn't sound like it makes sense, it's because it doesn't. So now Augie tries to make Maya and Riley friends again. And we find out Maya has no friends. And the reason that she's so bossy and mean all the time is because of that, and because something else bad might have happened in her life. Maybe her mom and dad situation. That was my guess when I first saw it, and I turned out being right, as usual. But let's not forget she also doesn't know Sean in this alternate universe either. So Corey calls on Maya in class. And you know what Maya said? If she gets called on in class, that's Riley's ass. So she tells her to meet her in the hallway at 3 o'clock. Uh-oh. Now, I know I said I was done talking about the Augie and Ava storyline in this episode, but I just want to comment on one more thing. Augie said that I love you too to Ava. Augie! Now, if Augie Matthews can say it, don't you Ruka shippers give me that BS argument anymore that the only reason Lucas didn't say it to Riley when Maya told him to is because he's too young. As if high schoolers are incapable of experiencing love or something. I don't know what high school y'all went to, but with mine, you couldn't walk down the hallway without seeing some couple hopelessly in love. It was actually quite annoying, actually. Now, was it always real love? Of course not. But it was still said all the time. But I digress. So the show ends with Riley showing up for her ass whooping in the hallway. But this time, Riley takes control. And she makes Maya talk to her. And just like I said earlier, it was the combination of Maya's father being gone and not having a friend like Riley in her life that made Maya this way. And Lucas ends up eavesdropping, and when Maya catches him, she calls him Puckleberry. Even in this alternate universe, I still love Lucaya. And the episode ends with young Maya going through young Riley's window, because that's completely normal and not creepy at all. So overall, was this episode better than part 1 and part 2? Yeah, but is that saying much? No. And if you find Riley annoying like I do, this episode is probably gonna give you nightmares. I mean, it was kind of cool seeing how everyone's lives would be if they never met each other, but that's pretty much the only good thing I can say about this episode. The idea was good, but the execution wasn't, in my opinion. And like I said, Riley was even more annoying than usual, so you're not gonna win any points from me there. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably rate it a 5.5 out of 10. But let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comment section below. And if you guys are interested in supporting my channel so I can make many more videos for you guys going forward, check out that Patreon link in the description box. But I'm done talking. If you guys enjoyed this video, you know what to do. But as always, until next time.